Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. It has been 1 week since devastating floods ravaged communities in central Texas. Torrential rain in the early hours of July 4th caused the Guadalupe River to swell nearly 30 feet. The severity of the floods took many by surprise. Emergency alerts were sent out overnight, but some locals said they did not see or hear the warnings. More than 120 people are confirmed dead. The majority of those killed were in Kerr County. That includes many young girls at Camp Mystic, an all-girls summer camp built along the river. Search crews have spent days combing through mud and debris for any sign of the missing. More than 170 people remain unaccounted for, and that number has not changed since Tuesday. Officials say the situation has been challenging.
They are going methodically from pile to pile and going through it to try to find everybody's loved ones. When I say piles, we're talking about debris piles 20, 30 feet high that are big enough to have a whole RV still in them and not be seen.
Hard words to hear. President Trump and the First Lady visited some of the hardest hit communities today. The president has pledged federal support for state recovery efforts.
It's hard to believe the devastation. Trees that are 100 years old just ripped out of the ground. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen a lot of bad ones. I've gone to a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes. I've never seen anything like this.
CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman joins me now from New Jersey, where the president will be spending the weekend. Willie, good to see you. So what federal resources has President Trump offered to Texas to help with response efforts?
Hey there, Tom. Good to see you as well. President Trump, as you mentioned, is on his way to his New Jersey home for the weekend, but he is promising that federal assistance to those hard-hit communities there in Texas. We, of course, saw the president and the First Lady visit with some of those people that are affected by that disaster earlier today. In fact, their schedule ran a little late because they met with some of the people who have been hit hard by this devastating flood there in Texas. The president visiting Kerr County, one of the hardest hit counties there on the ground. We know that the president approved that disaster assistance that was requested from Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, just a day after the request came in. Now that calls for 75% a share of the federal cost, I should say, to pay for what the state government will need to recover and to essentially clean up all of what has happened there on the ground. So the 25% would come from the state. The president mentioned the hundreds of first responders there on the ground there in Texas. He also touched on the emergency response units that FEMA has deployed to the region. This really calls into question how the president would go about dismantling FEMA. Remember, that is a priority that he has set for his administration. But FEMA's importance is really a light is shine on it when you have disasters of this magnitude, because the federal government is able to come in and assist the state government and local authorities in the cleanup efforts and all of the response that is needed to respond to this type of disaster, Tom.
Yeah, we know that, there can be no finer point put on the need for federal assistance than an emergency like this, Willie. But before these floods, President Trump had proposed overhauling or dismantling FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Have those plans changed at all? What are you hearing?
Yeah, for the most part, that is still under consideration. We know that the president has created, of course, a review council, so to speak, to look at how reductions could be made, how things could change in terms of disaster assistance. We know the president has really talked about the states leading the way and the states leading in that disaster response. Kristi Noem, the DHS secretary, she leads that council. Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, is a part of that advisory council as well. So they meet oftentimes about a couple of months apart to discuss ways in which the agency can move forward. But really, as I stress, it really just shows you how important the federal government response is when a disaster of this magnitude strikes rural areas and areas across the country, especially what happened in Texas last week. Those billions of dollars that will be needed for cleanup, that oftentimes is supported by the federal government. On top of that, a governor might have to call different government agencies if FEMA were to not exist. So this is a way to streamline the process and to streamline the response. But the Trump administration is still considering ways to at least cut back or scale back the way in which FEMA works as we know it today.
Willie James Inman reporting for us from New Jersey, where the president will be returning after visiting hard-hit Central Texas. Willie, thank you for that. After a week of search and rescue efforts, Texas crews are battling mountains of debris to search for the dozens of people still missing. And CBS News national reporter Karen Waugh is in Kerrville, Texas. Karen?
What you're seeing behind me right now, we have some excavators and gentlemen with chainsaws who've shown up to clean up the debris in this area. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said they're not going to stop until they find every missing person. Along the Guadalupe River, crews are carefully working through the debris.
Every pile, every piece of debris, every vehicle has to be treated differently, so to keep the dignity of humanity. You got to remember there are people that are watching this and they know that their kids are missing. They don't want to see people just eating away at piles of trees.
In Kerrville, a memorial wall to the victims continues to grow.
This is devastating. I've lived here for 30 years and never seen anything like this. It's so sad.
This resident wiped away tears as she came to express her condolences to all those who lost family and friends. Karen Waugh, CBS News, Kerrville, Texas.